Hey everyone, welcome back to the tech capital of the world. My name is Bobby Doe, CEO and founder of Foundry, and Kevin. We're back from vacation.
We are.
You know,
we both weren't here last week. You guys, I'm sure, missed us, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure you missed us. We're out. I went to the beach and did absolutely nothing. A few days. What did you do?
Yeah. I rode in a 50-mile desert gravel race.
Okay, the exact polar opposite of what I did.
Yeah. So I was in Colorado, Grand Junction in Fruita, Colorado, and I rode in the Otuit, Colorado, Utah Desert Gravel.
What's it called?
Gravel race. Otuit, Colorado to Utah.
Oh,
so you cross into Utah. So and it's out in the middle of the desert. It was pretty fun. Had a lot of blast. So I was
riding up a mountain, riding down a mountain.
Yeah, I was thinking about life choices when I'm doing these kind of things. Definitely climb some mountains. I think that the biggest climb was 3.5 miles up a mountain.
Okay.
It was really hard.
Okay. So we're going to use that today.
5,700 feet elevation. It started around 5,000 feet. So it's just super, super steep. I mean, all in long.
That is crazy. Yeah, I was doing nothing. Sat around on the beach. Again, the total opposite.
Sea level. At sea level.
At sea level, exactly. Yeah, I was totally chilling at sea level. Literally in the sea level. We're going to use that as a jumping off point. Talk about something in a little bit. Talk about resilience and why resilience matters in coding.
Yeah,
so
I think so. And then
use that.
Correlate it to my life journey here, trying to get in shape and trying to figure out how to ride a bike for a long ways, and stuff I ran to. So people don't know this. I don't really talk about myself much. I try not to, but I wrecked a bike training. I was originally around the 100-mile, and I had a complete shoulder reconstruction on my left shoulder. And that sidelined me for 12 weeks. I could not train or do anything for 12 weeks, because my arm was immobilized. So, that set me back. And so I toned it down to 50 miles. So, which I'm glad I did. I don't think I could have rode 100 miles without shoulder surgery. So, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. So, it was really hard.
It was hard.
But
maybe next year.
We'll talk about resilience. Yeah, maybe next year, Talk about resilience. Let's talk about our course. We launched our course before we went on vacation,
Yeah, so we did just before. Yeah. So we launched the Complete Blazor course from beginner to pro. It's been doing great. It's got some great feedback. People have been chugging through it. I see the people who have been working on the stuff. I can see how far people have gotten it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's good to see so many people working through it. But we added another thing too. We promised it in one of the videos and then we forgot to add it. So we've gone back and now we've added it. We're doing there's a little challenge section you can do in here.
Yeah.
So we've added it in the course. It's right at the end of the now playing section. So it's about a third of the way through the course. Right. We added in this, what we called a Capstone challenge. So you want to kind of guide us through this? What is this?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did this time around, and we always take a risk when we do this, because a lot of times in a course, to give an open-ended challenge, they always want the answer. Students want the answer.
Right.
But we feel like this course is so broad and so much stuff in it that they should be able to build this. Now, here's what I want you to think about too is, if you can build a front end like KEYMASTER, which are going to show you, you pretty much can build any kind of front end that you want. And it is a level check. Can I do this or not? And so that's really test whether you can do it or not. If you can't and you fail at it, that's okay. I mean, you can keep going through the course, or you can review some other things, or maybe get in our Discord channel and you can ask for help. Like, hey, did you saw anyone here build KEYMASTER? And then they can give you some pointers. But the point is, eventually, even with any course, you got to break out and eventually go, I need to build something that hasn't been built in the course and see if I can do it or not. Right. You think this is a really structured challenge that you could get?
Yeah, we want to give you a framework to do that with, don't we? Something like an idea, at least something that you can kind of build around, so you're not just a total blank piece of paper.
Right. We don't need you to invent a new game, like anything like that, but we need you to code something that has requirements based around it. So we gave you requirements of what your game should do, and then we gave you some sample ideas. Obviously, tic-tac-toe, not our favorite game, but you know how the game works. Can you build that UI? Maybe memory match, some things where you turn over cards and see if they match or not, stuff like that.
I think these sample ideas too are kind of the ones where think of the mechanics and then think about how you can kind of change or use those mechanics in maybe a different form. I think that's kind of what we were kind of thinking, wasn't it, with this?
You could build a Wordle clone. I mean, you could do something like that. KEYMASTER's kind of like Wordle except with numbers. A reaction timer. Can you push buttons quick enough to, kind of stuff like that. But anyway, and then we built out our own game completely.
We did.
As an example, and you can play it. We do not give you the code. You can't download. Don't ask for the repo. We're not giving it to you. But you can play it and you can see, can I copy this and can I build this? So this is a good way if maybe you tackle KeyMaster first and then you come back and say, okay, I've done that now. Now maybe I could draw something out now and build another one. So you could build all those sample apps if you wanted to. I mean, they're all ideas in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
the purpose is just to build something kind of from scratch, isn't it? That's the idea here.
Yeah.
We think a game is probably one of the simpler things to make at this point.
Now, if you look at ours right here, you can see we have a traditional website, but inside it, then we coded this up like a terminal. And so we did that on purpose. So there's some CSS that goes into this. The KeyMaster styling, if you look hard enough, you can find a CSS example somewhere that shows you how to build letters that look like that if you just have to copy our thing.
It's got a little glow around it too, like this old CRT looking thing.
Now, if you can't make a logo, that's because you don't have a Kevin. So but that's okay. You can go try to do something else.
That's the least part of this.
It's the cool thing, though. Let's try it out. Let's see if we can play KeyMaster. I don't know how this works really. So what's it say? Enter your password.
So we have some instructions. When you first come in, there's a little instruction box that pops up. Because I'd ran the game once, but it normally pops up like this. So it says, use the provided pin pad or your keyboard to enter a 4-digit guess. When you submit your guess, you'll be provided with a set of hints to help you get closer to the correct password. You'll get a total of 10 attempts before the game is over and the secret code is revealed. Then there's a key. So a green circle means the correct digit in the correct position of the secret code. The yellow exclamation, the digit is part of the code but not in the correct position. And a red X is incorrect. This digit is not present anywhere in the secret code. And then it says, in addition to these hints, the password at the top of the terminal will reveal each digit you've correctly guessed at the correct position.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
What do you want me to guess?
What do you think? Where should we start with?
1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Okay, there you go.
So I just basically clicked on them. I could use the numbers on the keyboard too if I wanted to, and then I'm going to click the little check mark to check it.
Oh, one of them's right.
Okay. So it says 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, and 3 are not part of it. 4 is, but it's in the wrong position.
Okay, so we can start with 4.
So I think we go 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was good. 4 and 5, we have green marks now. So 4 and 5 are correct and in the correct position.
So it's 4, 5, 8, 9. Maybe 0.
Or it could be. Yeah. Let's try that. 4, 5, 8, 9. Oh, so 4, 5, and 8 isn't. And 9 is there, so it's got to be 4, 5, 0, 9.
0,
right?
9. Yep.
No, it is not. So here's the thing with this game.
Oh, it's a duplicate.
It is a duplicate. This is the thing with this game. They're not unique numbers, right? Which is part of the logic behind when you program it, right? You could make them only appear once in it, but they don't have to. So now problem is now we're at the end. It could be anything, couldn't it? 4, 5, something 9, and we don't know what that is. But we know that it's a duplicate, so it's got to be 4, 5, 4, 9. That could work, right? There we go.
There you go. Look at you breaking in.
We got it in 5 guesses too. Look, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is pretty good.
So you're in, you guess the password in 5 guesses, and then it says play again. And then we can click play again, and it resets it, and we play again.
Yeah, and so other things that you could do, you could get this working. You're like, oh, this is easy. Well, what I would do is if you get this working like this, then go look at something like Wordle and look at the gamification of Wordle, and it has tweet this out. How many guests did I do? You could restrict it to the combination of the day like Wordle is, or you can have infinite playability like we did. So there's a couple things in here. You got to figure out random numbers, that you've got to figure out how to get the keyboard to work on it.
Yep. There's more to this than you think there is.
Yeah, it is. It
seems simplistic.
We thought it was easy.
Yeah.
And then I'll just give Jacob a shout out if he's watching. Jacob's here, one of the instructors at Code. He's the one that built this. And so it did take a minute to do.
because there's certain game mechanics that you think about for the first time through that you don't think about, right? And then you play it and you're like, oh yeah, there's that, and there's that, and there's that. And it's just,
Yeah, and then building the UI for the showing the if you miss a guess or whatever was kind of, it's another challenge that you have.
It is. Yeah. So you're guessing, and then how you handle this spot here, and yeah.
Okay, so 3's right. We'll do one more, see if we can get better than 5. Bitter. So we know 3's right. 1, 2, and 4 is wrong.
4 are not in. So okay, so
5,
start with 3.
Well, 3 is.
Oh no,
in the
3
right
is.
position.
Oh yeah, 3 is in the right position. Isn't it? Hold on, let me go back.
Use backspace. Yeah. Oh yeah,
look
at that.
Yeah. There you go. That's something you've got to program too.
5,
right?
6, 3, 7.
3, 7. Okay, so 5 and 3 are right, and 6 and 7 are not. So 5, 8, 3, 9. Oh, we're close. 5, 8, 3, 0. Try that, don't we? Just see for duplicate first. It's not that. So it's 5, 8, 3, 3 maybe. Oh, your guess. You got to guess this.
Oh, let's see if I can do it now. See if I can get 5. I'm gonna go.
Oh, we're gonna match it.
5, 8, 3, 5.
5. Okay. There we go. We matched it. We got the same again. That's good.
That's it, man. Tom Cruise will be calling me anytime now to break into safes. So.
And you could obviously the winning mechanic here. We've got it set so that you can do it in 10, but maybe you do it in 5 to make the game really hard, right? I don't know. It's
whatever you want to do.
You can change the game mechanics however you want, whatever your game mechanics are. Now again, if you look back at this document, you'll see some of these examples, like memory match or rock paper scissors. It doesn't have to be actual rock paper scissors. You can make your own version of that. Right, it's the game mechanic you have to think about. Like those proven game mechanics are easy to replicate and put a kind of a different skin on them or a different spin on them slightly.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of like our version. We thought about this as being our version of kind of a numbers version of Wordle, right? That was
exactly. We wanted to use numbers, and we made it look like a safe that made it unique a little bit, or a pen pad that you would see on a combination lock. You could have a 5 combo thing. You could have 20 combos. I mean, you could do whatever you want. So
hard.
Make it hard.
Do that though. Yeah, it'd be much harder.
I would make it infinitely harder for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
10 would be next to impossible. But
yeah.
So
this
just shows you
added to the course. You can anybody that's in the course can go check this out. If you're not in the course too, you can go to this website. I'll actually put the website in.
You can go to the website and
play with it. You can go play with it.
So what would work here if you want people to really play your game? Obviously, a leaderboard could work. Social media shout outs, if you finish it, could work.
Yep.
Those kind of things. I don't know what we do a leaderboard here because eventually someone's going to get one guess right.
Right. There's loads of extra things here. So we're talking about scoring system, multiplayer. And some of these things are quite complex. You start talking about multiplayer, you've got to talk about, you've got to create a sign-in and then have some way of doing, maybe you're playing against each other somehow. It gets a lot more complex than you think it does.
And so if you want to see how multiplayer mode could work really well, look at Jackbox Games and see how they do it. They generate a code, and then they keep that code, and then when you log in, you have to enter that code, and that puts you in the right lobby.
Yep.
But you have to use something like SignalR on the back end or something kind of like chat app type scenario that you put together.
Right.
You can store things, in settings and local storage, or hook it up to a database. You can make it as complex as you want. So, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then brand it and show it off, and then see if people will play your game. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, what we'll say on the scale of portfolio worthy apps, yes, you can stick this on portfolio, but it's lower tier than Bug Tracker or
right.
Contact Pro.
This is a step. This is a stepping stone that we think is it's a check on your current knowledge. To this point in the course, you should be able to build this, is what we think.
Yeah.
So
and
it's a check on where you are.
You should be able to, if someone hands you a UI, a wireframe, or whatever, recreate that wireframe and its functionality. And that's really what we're testing here. Can you build a front end project, and can you replicate a wireframe from somebody? You drew it yourself,
right,
or someone hands it to you. Either way, can you build that and turn that into an app? And that's step one, building front end apps with Blazor. And then after that, we go.
And that's it. You're using Blazor to do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, let's talk about back to your writing, and then talk about resilience, because you thought about this after you'd done it. You were like, "Oh, this is actually a good topic. It fits for coding too."
It fits for things, and sometimes when you're riding a bike and you're training, you spend a lot of solitary hours. Just if a 50-mile ride took me 4 hours to do. So even if you're in the middle of the desert, you got a lot of time to think. it's not like you're chatting it up with your buddies, you know, like you said, like, you know, and then if you're training, you know, you spend a lot of time thinking. So I've been thinking about why people fail at Coder Foundry, and then why do people win? Because I really kind of key into that, like what made that guy get a job and why did this person not?
Right.
They took the same course, like what's the difference between them? And one of the things that people talk about a lot now, and you can probably key this in, is resilience. And the reason I came to this word is because in cycling now, the big term on YouTube is resilience in cycling, which is like, can you produce power after you're tired, after you're fatigued? And resilience in learning to code is like, can you keep going when things don't go right? Do you have resilience? Because the first thing that I think that people don't understand about trying to learn to code is programmers fail every single day. like it's this process of failure and fixing that you go through, you know, like, so let's take KEYMASTER, for example. You know, when I asked Jacob to build this, he came back and said, yeah, this is a little more complicated than I thought it would be. And we all thought it'd be real easy. And wow, we could make a YouTube video, show Jacob coding and make it in 8 minutes and say, you know what, man, I built KEYMASTER in 8 minutes flat, you know, like,
right.
And then you know, and that's how a lot of creators portray themselves. They don't portray the losses or the amount of effort or research that goes into certain things. And it also seemingly they have everything memorized, you know, right. So like, and that's just not the case. You'll fail all the time. In fact, early on, Kevin, when you see people come on our course live for the first time and their code blows up in the IDE, you know, they're like, what did I do? I did something wrong. You know, well, no, not really. I mean, it's okay.
Right.
You know, like, you know,
it is
like,
part of the journey.
Yeah. You're not getting arrested or anything like that. I mean, like, you know, like, it's okay. Calm down. You know, it's just part of what happens, and everyone has bugs. And it's really this fear of failure that keeps people from learning to code, because they feel like I should just be able to type it in and hit enter and it just works.
Right.
You know, and that comes from television or someone hacking into the Pentagon with 2 keyboards, left and right hands, you know, like that. Yeah. And like seemingly they have all of this stuff memorized, and like, you know, that's the way it works at work. And it just doesn't work that way. You know, like, you're going to fail a lot. You'll fail every single day, and you'll fix stuff every day. And you go through this constant fix and bug fix and break and not working frustration all day long. And then it'll extend over multiple days if you try to fix things, you know, but eventually you get there. So you got to be, failure isn't really the stop sign that you think it is. It's more of like the opportunity to learn more as you go.
Yeah, you've really got to embrace it, don't you? Because it is part of the journey. That is part of being a developer, is you're going to fail, and you're going to fail all the time.
Yeah. And you just need to keep doing it. And the same thing in bike riding for me. Like, you know, I had lots of rides when I was training that, you know, we took off on a 50-mile ride one day, and my back was hurting, and it hurt a lot, and everyone dropped me. I was by myself in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina. I had to call my wife to come and get me. You know, she said, "Where are you?" I said, "I don't know."
just head out this way.
Somewhere.
You'll see me on the side of the road.
Yeah. Begging for water. So, like, you know, but like, and so you have to embrace the failure, and then you think you'll quit, and you don't. You just come back the next day or the next moment, and just keep on. I guess it is the grind set, you know, like grind set mindset, you know, grind and shine, you know, you just have to like work through it.
Well, I think that's the thing. I think working through it is the key, right? Because some people will see it, like you said, as a stop sign. It's like fail and that's it. Oh, I can't do this.
Right.
But no.
Or I suck. You know,
or
like
I suck. Yeah.
No one else has ever had a bug in their whole life.
That's it.
You know, like,
exactly. That's it. Yeah. Like, you feel bad because you didn't. You failed.
Yeah.
But it's not. It is that. It's just another step. You have to fail to be able to figure it out. Otherwise, half the time you'll never know what you did correct. Yeah,
and I see this all the time helping new developers. You know, they're like, "Sorry, this isn't working." They'll apologize for their code not working. I'm like, "Well, no, man, this is part of the process. This is expected behavior when you're developing. Like, it's not going to work. You know, like,
the job is to figure out how to make it work.
What happened and how do I recover from that? What do I do?
Yeah.
So the question is, how do we solve problems then? We got number 2 here, I think, is you got to realize that you've got to search, and that AI is your friend now. And so Google, and I would say even in my last 6 to 8 months, I would say ChatGPT has almost replaced Google when I'm searching coding solutions. So it's definitely replaced Stack Overflow for me, but it doesn't mean that you can't use Stack Overflow. You should. But AI is more of a search engine. I'm not using it to like write my code like these vibe coders out there saying, but like I do say, hey, how do I do this in C#? It'll give me a sample, things like that I can look at and go, okay, I think that's kind of what I need to do. Now, the one thing that you do need to know is understand what you're trying to do so that your search result, you can merge those in together.
Right.
You're never going to get a cut and paste solution out of Stack Overflow or even OpenAI or ChatGPT necessarily exactly like what you want all the time. And even from, if you're using Copilot inside of VS Code, a lot of times it comes back and it's like mostly right. You
just want to point you in the right direction, don't you?
Yeah,
give
that's
you
what you
an
want to
idea.
do. And maybe you just need a syntax of like HTTP client. Like, how do I put a bearer token in HTTP client? I know I need to do that. I forgot what's the syntax for that. It can help you do those kind of things. So I do see a lot of new coders. They don't Google anything. They don't use Stack Overflow. They don't use any tools whatsoever, and they just stare at the screen. And
hold on, dude, you're trying to tell me you don't just memorize all this stuff?
Exactly.
Because that's what it feels like, isn't it?
Number one reason is that people try to memorize coding. They feel like, because in school, you take a history test, and it's all like short-term memory. And like our entire school system in the U.S. is built that way. I'm sure it is around the world.
It is.
Where you just memorize a bunch of facts, and then you spit them out on a multiple choice test. They give you an A, and now you're a history professor. It's like, I mean, like if I want to know about medieval history, it seems like at some point I got to go to England, at some point. Like,
no. Just watch the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie. You'll be fine. That's everything you need to know.
It's so accurate.
Everything.
So you have to jump in and do this stuff, and you can't memorize this. I try to express this to every student coming in. It's like, you cannot memorize C#. It's too wide, and then you tack on Blazor on top of that, CSS, HTML, JavaScript. And like, there are things that you will know that you use all the time that you'll memorize. Like,
repetition will make you memorize them, won't it? Yeah, you're not actively trying to memorize it. Right. You're hands-on, so you just end up knowing it because you do it a lot. But the things you do only a few times, you're not going to memorize those things.
No.
I see you look up stuff all the time. When we do the live coding.
The key is you got to know what you want to do. Like, and that's the thing that you need to know. Like, what am I trying to do? Not necessarily the syntax of C# or JavaScript or whatever. And that's when you get there. That's why I feel pretty confident with AI and Google and Stack Overflow. If someone handed me a code base in PHP, which I don't use, and I started looking at it, I could probably figure out and fix some stuff in PHP, which I've done with people before. They're like, all right, show me the code. And then I'll like, okay, that's how they do classes. Okay, that's how the ifs work. Okay, I sort of see that, and then I can start tracing through it. And then that's why all the languages are kind of similar. They're not the same at all, but the structure and everything is kind of similar. And you can pick up a new language after you learn the first one, but you can't memorize it, And I'm sure there's some people in comments say, well, I've got all of C# memorized. Do you now?
No, you don't. There's no way.
So there's no way. You don't. You just look it up, and then you know how to integrate it in there. And so I think that's what you really need to understand. Research is a key to being good at development. And if you don't do that early on, you're missing out, just research, So, and sometimes I've helped other coders on other projects, they're like, man, I don't know how to fix this. And I said, what have you tried? Nothing. It's just a broken. Well, have you set a breakpoint? No, I haven't done that. Okay. Have you Googled this question? No, not yet. Well, do you want me to Google it, or do you want to Google it?
Right. You came and asked me too early, and exactly. And that's a good point, because when you're on the job, you don't want to go to your manager too early, right? That's right. Like, if you hit the wall and like immediately you're just like, I don't know how to do this. Your first port of call isn't to go to your manager and say, hey, how do I do this? No,
do this for me.
You got to research it. You got to do the
research it.
Because the first question they ask you is that same question. What have you done so far? It's always going to be the first question.
Yeah. Because what the manager's trying to do, or the senior developer's trying to put me in the ballpark, put me in the context of what we're talking about here. Let me know what we're talking about. Okay. And then what have you tried? Have you tried this, this, and this? And you should be able to tell me yes or no. I haven't tried that yet. Okay, go try that and get back.
The answer always needs to be yes, yes, and yes. At least the first three things he asks you.
Right. Yeah. I've tried all that, man. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Because you're right, because that manager or senior developer is going to do the same thing you're going to do. You're right. They're going to go off and they're going to Google it. They're going to go to Stack Overflow. They're going to use AI because they're not going to remember it or know how to do it.
Right.
Chances are.
Exactly. Most likely. I mean, sometimes it is something they're very familiar with. They're like, oh yeah, this is what you do here. And so that's what a senior developer will probably have more things on recall. It isn't everything on recall. No one does. Someone has to research and Google things. And even things they do all the time, sometimes they have to go back and go, oh yeah, that's how that works. And they'll get a research. So make sure you're using your resources to do it. Like I said, in coding, there's no cheating. You don't really cheat on anything. A lot of people think they cheat. You know, if we hand them a coding challenge in Coder Foundry, they're like, can I Google this? Well, yeah.
Right, yes.
That's the point. The point is, can you build it?
You need to.
Yeah. You know, I'm not saying copy a whole code base from somewhere, but I'm saying like you can research how something works. So, and you should. That's how it works. That's how the job works.
Okay, what's up next?
All right, number 3 is a skill and a realization. So number 3 is that you got to learn how to use a debugger. And if you're not debugging your code or learn how to set breakpoints, looking at variable values, you're never going to be good at programming. But it's just something you just got to do. And it takes patience to understand what's going on in the debugger, and what the values are. And once you do that, that's the only way to fix problems. It's the only way. And we try to tell people over and over again at Coder Foundry. And the first question is, hey, my code is broke, it doesn't work. And I'll say, have you debugged it yet? No. Okay. I'll come back and help you later.
Right.
Set a breakpoint, go through it and tell me why it's broken. Like, where does it break that you don't understand?
And that's the difference. Like, when you get that initial question, you'll know that they haven't debugged it. When the question is more specific, like, hey, my value here isn't changing as I expected it to at this point.
-1. I don't know why.
Yeah. So, you'll know they've at least looked at like they'll looked at debugging and they'll be like, oh, I know specifically where it's wrong. I just don't know how to fix it.
Right. Yeah. And so like you'll see a lot of times like, hey, this value is null coming back from Entity Framework. You know, like, why is that null? You know, like, well, okay, we'll look in the database. Is it null in the base? No. Okay. Well, let's look at your query and see, oh, that I don't have that value in my query. That's why it's null. So you learn through things like that, but you only know what the problem is if you put it in a debugger, and that requires patience and perseverance to use that tool. People are afraid of it, but you just got to use it on anything. And so the debugging tools are really good, especially in VS Code and Visual Studio. But other IDEs have great debuggers too. So like, just gotta learn to use those tools, look at values, learn how to use watch values. You know, I even showed someone the other day, like if you're looping over something and you want to stop here when the value equals 400 or something like that. There's conditional breakpoints. And so like, once you do that, you don't have to step through. So if you got 1,000 values, you know, I just want to see the 400th value. You know, you say when this equals 400, stop here, and then it'll loop over and go, you know, stop.
If you click the button 400 times.
Yeah. So conditional breakpoints is really cool. And so like, you need to learn how to do that, but you can't rush this. It's just something you got to do. And it's like I said, it's like riding a bike. You just got to put the miles in, man. Like some of them are fast, some of them are slow, some of them suck. You know, some days you want to throw up. Some days you don't feel like doing it, you know, like, and that's just the way it is. And so perseverance, you build this resilience by doing things over and over. So I think that's really important. Debugging is a critical skill that you got to do. So
that's it.
All right.
Okay. What's next?
All right. So every error is a learning opportunity. And I use this here when we're teaching people to code here at Coder Foundry. You know, like they get a bug, and especially bugs that take you a long time to solve, like something that takes you like you look at it for like 5 hours, you know, like, and you're like, I remember that. I remember this explicitly working on a project. And if you don't know what this means, it's okay. But like when you write an if statement, it has brackets around the code. And so you write if whatever, and then you hit a bracket, and then you put your line of code in there. Yeah. You also can put it on one line without brackets. And that means it'll run that line and then continue through the execution. Well, it's like I remember looking through a piece of code one time where they forgot the brackets and it just jumped through the rest of the code. And I can remember looking at something for 4 or 5 hours, like, I do this every time. Like, you shouldn't do that. You know, like, and then I suddenly saw it like, oh, this isn't surrounded in brackets. It's part of the if statement. It's just like,
Right.
you know, and you pound. And so now, for the rest of my life, forever and ever and ever, if I look at an if statement and it isn't doing what I'm doing, I look for those.
That's the first thing you're gonna look for. Yeah.
First thing I do. Is there an else condition? You know, like so, like, you know, like those kind of things. And so, like, you have to like every error that you run into is a learning opportunity where you learn things about like things work. It's like in real life too. You know, same things that are really hard to do, you never forget. It's like if you ever dug a post hole or planted a post hole in a fence, you know, like you've ever done that, you're like, wow, that's really hard, you know. I always
Especially if you've
laugh.
done it here in North Carolina where the
Yeah.
ground is like clay.
Yeah, it's like clay, you know, like, okay, I remember how that works, you know. We always made the joke, like, you can own every tool in the world, but don't own post hole diggers. Because some guy will call you up and say, hey, can I borrow your post hole diggers? Yeah. Do you mind bringing them over?
Oh no, I've got to go out. You got to come pick that up because you don't want to get stuck.
That's a pick up all the item, buddy. I'm not digging your hole for you. Like, so like, but like, yeah. So I think that those things that you need to learn as learning opportunities is every error that you run into. It's not a failure. And that goes back to number one. Just because you have an error doesn't mean you suck. It just means that, what am I going to learn from this? Can I learn to put brackets around an if statement? Can I learn how to find semicolons? Or like I have divs in HTML, like nested diving, and you know, like I don't know where the closing tag is. And then I finally found it, like I fixed my layout. And then you start seeing those things because it took you 5 hours to look at it. And those learning opportunities get ingrained in your brain. And that's a rite of passage, in my opinion. And it also happens every single day.
Yep.
When I'm writing code, setting a breakpoint, like, why does this not work?
And the level of complexity doesn't seem to matter, does it either? It can be, like you said, it can be something very simple, like a missing bracket at the end, and you just like your whole page is broken, and it just takes you 5 hours to figure out. It's not usually the most complex of things.
There's a super famous coding tutorial that we did where we were building, I forget, we were building a movie or something like that, and I was trying to get something to pop up, and I missed the hashtag on the tag in there. And I had muted my button, and I couldn't hear you guys talking. You'd called me on the phone, and
I remember
40 minutes later, y'all come in and like hashtag, and I'm like, I'm looking at it like, yes. I
think Jacob would have found that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's things that I run into that you just sometimes you can't see, you know, but you learn from that. And so after I've done that live and embarrassed in front of a lot of people, you know, if my modal doesn't pop up, like that's the first thing I look at now. The ID have a hashtag in it.
Yeah.
So kind of cool, but it's tempting, but to quit when you get these errors, but you shouldn't do that. You should just keep going. It's a learning opportunity. I'm learning now. That's what I'm doing. I'm learning, and you're going to learn every day for this. The other thing I want to caution people on is like when they come to a boot camp or go to a school or maybe a CS degree, and they get a job, they feel like, oh, my learning's complete. And for a lot of degrees, that's kind of true. But you're always learning stuff, even in things like what you do, like video editing. You have to
always
constantly learning new skills and new things that you can do to make yourself better. And so a lot of people, they come into coding and they treat it like a side hustle. And like, I'm just going to do this one little thing for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to make, you know, tons of money for the next 20 years based on these 3 skills that I know.
Right.
And people don't know that they're signing up for a lifelong of learning. It's just constant training, and you're always going to run into errors, and you just learn from them. You know, that's the way it is. And even on the job, everything is broken until you fix it.
Right.
So like, you know, like it's just, and that's part of the development process. You know, we got things to fix, and then we finally fix it and we roll it out. But like, it's, you know, it's in a constant state of brokenness. That's what development projects are. So and finally, number 6.
5. It's number 5.
Number 5. Oh yeah.
Before we go into, we have some other tips we'll do at the end here, but this is the last step in the.
Yeah, projects take longer than you think. So KeyMaster, it's going to take you a minute. You're not going to do it in a day. It's going to take a minute, and you just have to know that. Don't think you're stupid because you watch some YouTuber on TV code my favorite tweet is the guy says, I built my SaaS with 5 coding in 15 minutes, and now I have 50 million annual recurring revenue.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your life, bro? Yeah. And so you're like, wow, I can't do that. You know, and then, because I always call these guys out, you know, when they say this,
you can't do that because he didn't either.
But I'm always asking when I see that they're making 50 million annual recurring revenue. Hey, what's the link to that? I'd like to buy your product.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There is no product. They didn't build a thing. And it takes longer to do that. You can't just vibe code something out or code live in 15 minutes and make, Salesforce. I mean, it's just not happening. Like, it takes a long time to do it. Even KEYMASTER will take you a long time to do it. But if you spend 3 weeks making KEYMASTER, show it off. Look at what I did. Celebrate the wins. I think that's what you do. And just real software takes time. It just does. There's projects we worked on for 5 years. I mean, so
that's it. You have a great note here. You just say it's messy, it's frustrating, it breaks before it works. I like that. That's it. That kind of sums it up for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it breaks before it works. I like that. It's always broken.
Yeah, it's always broken. Yeah, because chances of you like hitting it first time is just it's
Zero.
one of the it's next to nothing, isn't it? It really is. Nothing's ever just going to work first time. You just write it and it just works. That's why if you ever watched us do the live coding, where is live coding, I think it's funny because you'll go through it and I see it. You hit the button and be like, "What do you think? Is it going to work?" Because your chances are it's not going to.
I think it might.
It might, because you have the experience of doing these things before, and even then you're just like, I'm not sure, because it's complex, right? There's all these different intertwined pieces that are just like getting all of that right in one shot is difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I've had comments both ends on this down on the YouTube channel. People say, "How do you know it doesn't work?" I'm like, "Well, I don't. I mean, I just don't know. I think it is. I tried."
Right. You're like, I had a good shot at it. I think logically, it should work.
Yeah. And then some people think it makes me feel better that you mess up, and I'm like, you need to get over that. It's just the way it is. That's everything. If they're doing it perfectly on YouTube, I promise you, it's performance art.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah,
it's no way. I mean, and there's some guys that are way better than coders than me, and they can do things better than I can, but none of them are perfect. It's just not the way it is. And anyone that here says I do it perfect every time, they're lying. So projects just take longer. And just like my 50-mile race, man, there was some struggles in that thing. I told you that we did the 3.5 mile climb, and then I got all the way to the top of this. And when I got to the top of the mountain, it was this ravine that goes down like this into a ditch, and then it goes up like that. And these are 10% gradings. If you know what a 10% grade on a bike is, it's like you're going to fall off the seat, and you're tired. And I'm watching guys go down this thing and hit the ravine and fall over, and then hit the ravine, like 8 or 9 guys. And I'm like, man, I am 57 years old. I'm coming off shoulder surgery. We're walking this.
You're like, maybe next time.
It's going to take me longer, but I'm getting to the other side. So
it's funny that coming down the mountain is actually as difficult as going up it, isn't it? You think that's the easier part.
It's the most dangerous.
Yeah, it makes sense because you're going to carry the most speed, right?
Yeah, and it's especially around hairpin turns with a cliff edge, which a lot of these were. There's no guardrail. There's just you're looking over at the bottom of the mountain, and you have to keep it between the lines, man, or you die. I mean,
that's scary.
People think, "What do you mean die?" I'm like, I mean 200 feet straight down. Don't run off the side of the road. And they have danger signs in this race, and that's why it was one of the most difficult gravel races in the U.S. because of these ravines and stuff that you have to traverse. It's just going to take you longer to get down the hill. Just because it's downhill doesn't mean you can go fast. And so that's the way real software just takes time to do. I mean, it just does. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I mean, my trip was dangerous too. I could have stepped on a jellyfish or something.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's equally as dangerous, surely.
Yeah.
I could have got really sunburned if I didn't put the sun cream on right.
There could have been a shark out there.
Well, there is sharks, but I didn't really go that far. So, no, stepping on a jellyfish would have been the most dangerous thing I did.
A little hermit crab.
Yes, that would have been about it. Yeah. Equally as dangerous, definitely. But okay, you got some tips then.
I got some tips. All right, number 1, embrace the struggle. So pain equals growth. If it's hard, you're learning. If it's easy, you're not learning anything. So you've got to eventually move into things that you don't know how to do. Software as a career is always building things you've never built before and you don't know how to do. And that is the thing. Very rarely do we put some stuff up on a whiteboard when we're building things that everyone in the room says, "Yeah, I know how we're going to do that." Usually, we look at it and go, that's a problem, that's a problem, that's a problem. I don't know how we're going to do that, but we will. Like, so like that's, and we're not looking at the things we know how to do. We're looking at the things we don't know how to do right off the bat. And that's the ones we're like highlighting or check marking and say, that's an issue, that's an issue, that's an issue. And so we're going to embrace the struggle. That's what we're going to do. But how we fix this is breaking things down. So when you have a problem, you got to break problems down to their lowest common denominator.
Yep.
So when you have KEYMASTER and you're looking at KEYMASTER, don't look at the complete game. Maybe look at, I'm going to build the landing page for this first. Okay, that's problem one. Problem two, man, I want to pop up in some instructions, get some small wins in there, celebrate those things and break it down. I can tell you in my 50-mile race, I was out there for 10 days. I broke the course down into 5 sections and I had enough time to ride 2 of them, 2 longer sections of the 5. So there were some sections I had ridden before, and guess what? Those are the ones that I did really well on. The one that I didn't ride was the really hard climbing section.
Right.
Like I should have rode that before, and I would have performed better. So if you can break a problem down into sections, and then just complete those sections one at a time. So like, don't try to tackle the whole problem looking at the whole forest. Get down to the one tree and break it as small as you can, and just fix those minor things, and I think you'll win. You'll have a lot more probability.
I think the thing with that is too, it not only helps with like the mental mindset, feeling like an overwhelming giant problem versus these individual problems, which helps, but also the solution is
small,
is individual answers, it's individual problems. Building KEYMASTER isn't like, oh, you just throw a KEYMASTER. No, it's like it's 100 different individual answers that accumulate to be the answer to one giant problem. It's like it's not like it's optional to break it down. You literally have to break it down. It's the only way you can do it.
Right. And that's the only way you understand truly what has to be built. But like if I broke down KEYMASTER, I mean, there's a couple of problems in it. Number one is like, do I not generate random numbers? How do I generate random numbers? Well, that's a really small little problem. And you can get that. And you can even go home and go, hey, Mom, look, I can generate random numbers every time I push this button.
Yep.
Gives me a random 4-word number, so that's one problem.
But that's another part of it too, though. Getting it to 4 digits, having it be between like a correct set exactly. Having it be integers instead of being floating, like all those things. Even that problem of getting 4 random numbers is a series of other smaller problems.
Yeah. So if you break it down small enough, and then you can get those little wins, and then suddenly after you've done it, you're at the end of the race. 15 miles later, you now rode 5 sections. Like I knew that I could do it. I knew that the last 10 miles was on the road and it was downhill. I knew that. I hadn't ridden it, but I knew what it was. And so when I was in that climbing section and I'm going down those things and then I'm riding through gravel this deep and I'm just struggling, I'm hurting, my mind was saying, just get to the road. Once you get to the road, you can glide this thing home, baby. Like all you got to do is just keep pedaling, and I was hurting. I was really hurting. But once I got to the road, I'm like, it's downhill from here. I know what I'm doing. And so I had these milestones and these sections that I had to build. And I think that was, it was good. I mean, so I think if you break down coding problems the same way, you can get to the end and you don't feel so overwhelmed when you're looking at it. And so, one thing I would say is if you got an app, a full stack app, just start with the login page. I just need people to log in to this thing before this thing can't do anything until I figure out how to log in. Yep. And then break that problem down to smaller problems. It's like, am I using a library or write my own? What am I doing? And so I think if you can just do that, just go feature by feature and then break the feature down, you can finish a project.
Definitely. Okay, next tip. This one's a good one.
We both do this in both of our careers. We take breaks. You may be editing. I've heard you say that. I just had to walk away from that.
You have to. It's so important to know that you have to do that.
Yeah, and so like I walk away from stuff all the time, and it allows your brain to conveniently will work in the background to solve a problem, and you don't realize you do it until you've been thinking about something a long time. You're like, man, I'm just gonna walk around a building for a second. And when I say take breaks, I'm not saying go away for 6 months and come back later.
Right.
I'm saying a literal break, 15, 20 minutes, or maybe a day or something like that. Like, that's all I can do today. I'll come back tomorrow. And I can't tell you, and if you're in the comments, if you've coded, this is true. You're working on something. It's 7:00 at night and you're like, all right, I'm just going to come back tomorrow. and you drive home, and I can't tell you that I fixed that thing before I got home, or I've woke up in the middle of the night and go like, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. I write it down and then fix it in the morning. Your brain continues to work on it. So take breaks, relax, change your focus, what you're looking at, take a walk, do whatever you got to do, watch a YouTube video or something, man. But, and then come back, and then you can typically solve it.
You think about it differently when you're not looking at it, don't you? And like you say, it could be the drive home. I often just it'll be like I'm in the shower or something. It'll be like, ding.
Yeah, the shower did.
Like, oh yeah, okay. Now I know, and you'll kind of remember, and then you go. It's just like it's a different. I don't know. Just looking at something different, just can trigger your memory, not directly looking at the problem.
Yeah, and I think that'll help you get refreshed and keep your momentum going. Taking a little bit of breaks. I can tell you in the 50-mile section, I rode for 4 hours. I stopped for 12 minutes, and people think that's not a lot. It's actually a lot in a race, really a lot. But I had to, my back was hurting a lot, so I had to stop and stretch, those kind of things. And so I did that so I could finish, and that helped me a lot. Sometimes when you're super winded, you just stop and catch your breath, until it comes back, get your heart rate back down, and then just continue on. I think if you take breaks during coding, that helps you out. Very rarely, and you can build your endurance up, I've had it where I've coded from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for 12 hours straight. I didn't eat lunch, and I was in there rolling. But usually, I got to get up and move around and stretch my mind, stretch my back, stretch my legs, and take breaks. And then I come back and I'm more productive. So the other thing is, and this is important too, and this is the number one reason junior coders get fired, is because they never ask for help at all. In other words, you're on this ticket, and then they give you 2 weeks to do it, and it's supposed to be turned in on Friday, and it's Friday morning, and you finally ask for help, and the guy's like, "What do you mean? We can't roll this out now. Even if I could fix it right now, this is a Monday thing now at this point." And so you should have asked for help, 5 days ago or something like that. So you need help. And I think especially learning, and I'm biased here, but I think you need a coach, a teacher, or a mentor in the beginning. A lot of people think, and the common pushback to coming to Coder Foundry or going to college or anything else, I can learn everything for free. I can do it myself for free. I can do everything for free. And the answer is that, yes, the resources are out there for free.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, Mike Tyson had a coach. I mean, I'm telling you right now, he had someone that motivated him, maybe, that gave him tips when he was down, that helped him learn things. And you can make a Mike Tyson coaching course, but man, if you go in the ring with a true coach, you're going to be better. And so you need a coach, a teacher, or a mentor, I think, especially early on in the learning process. Now, once you've learned, and this is what's so crazy. I see a 20-year veteran on YouTube saying, you don't need a school. You don't need anything. You need to you can learn this completely on your own. That's for him. 100%. He knows enough knowledge to watch any YouTube video and go, oh, I see what that guy's doing. Yeah. And they'll learn a lot from that. And then you watch it as a new coder and you're like, what the crap is he talking about? I don't even know. You're and not even all the code is sometimes on the screen, for a using statement in .NET, maybe omitted. And you're like, I don't know what a using statement is. This code doesn't work at all, what I saw on the screen. And so I can't make this work. Whereas a veteran coder goes, well, of course you got to have a using statement at the top of that. Yeah, of course he's using system namespace. It makes sense to them because they have knowledge. And a lot of times people on YouTube don't put themselves in the new learner's seat. It's really hard once you know stuff, to do that. But you have to sympathize. And I'm telling you right now, if you're a junior, you need to ask for help. You need a coach, you need a teacher, you need a mentor, someone that can get you over the hard things that you don't know how to do. That encourage you, hold you accountable, make sure that you're showing up on time, make sure you're putting in your time and your effort. So finally, celebrate small wins. I think that's really good. You build a landing page, show it to somebody. You build KeyMaster, get someone to play it.
Yeah.
Be proud of it, show it off. Is it going to get you a job necessarily, building a landing page or KeyMaster? Not necessarily, but celebrate the things that you're building and go along the way so that you can stay motivated and you build bigger and better things as you go on. Stack up wins. That's what you do. Celebrate wins. I mean, I can tell you this. I rode 12 miles an hour for 50 miles. My goal was to ride it at 15 miles. I realized that I didn't do that. But I can tell you, when I came across the finish line, which is cool, this is a proper race. It has the little stanchion and everything. It felt really good to finish that race, even though, I finished 112th out of 161. I beat some people, but that was nowhere close to the front.
There's still plenty behind you, though.
There's some people behind me. Yeah, there was. One guy with one tire and a guy to broken leg. But I beat some people. But the main goal was I did finish it. I did get to the end, and I didn't realize how I'd feel at the end until you did it. You're like, wow, I rode 50 miles in the desert. That's kind of cool. And I felt really good about it. There's a lot of people already finished ahead of me that had already eaten their snacks and everything. And I'm just going. But I did it. So it was, I want you to celebrate those small wins. And even if you don't think they're great, I can tell you this right now, 10% of our society knows how to code, probably, maybe 10%. They may be in the 5th percentile. So even if the fact that you could build a landing page is 90% of the people in the world will look at that and go, how in the heck did you do that, wizard? What kind of black magic are you using there? Yeah. So, and while you may not think it's cool because it's not enough to get a full-time job yet, but it's putting you on a way that most people can't do that. And so you celebrate those wins, show them off, that kind of stuff, and then, build KeyMaster, show it off, man. Let people play it, come back to us and send your links down there in the comments of this video if you build it out and let other people play it.
Yeah, if anyone in the course builds any games, send them to us because we'll play them on here.
Hit us up on,
we'll showcase it.
Yeah, we'll showcase it. Hit us up on Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever you're at, wherever we're at. And then, YouTube comments, something like that. We'll check it out. We do read all those comments. So if you leave comments.
Definitely, yeah. So if somebody does, get it published, send us a link. We've got this published on Netlify. See the link that I put in chat. This one's on Netlify. Publish it wherever, though. Doesn't matter. As long as we can go click it and play it, we'll showcase it for sure.
And if you're watching our channel and you're just like, I'm not building that Blazor, I don't care, I'm not taking your course, build it in React, build it in JavaScript, build it in the Django, I don't care. And, just we'll show it off, and so that you can celebrate your wins with us. So send it to us and we'll show it off on the course.
Yeah,
on the channel.
Definitely. Let's do some questions.
Okay, I got some questions. Cool.
Hold on. We'll just send this one first. There's no question, but John just says, bringing in data from the TMDB API still feels like magic.
It is.
I agree, it does, doesn't it? Because you're like, wow, there's this massive world of data that I can pull in and I can do something with it and I can manipulate it and display it some way.
And it's real, it's real movies.
Yeah, it just feels, it's fun.
Yeah, and that's why we do it. I'm just telling you, the why we do it is because it's called proof of work, which means that everything we do has a purpose while we build these projects. But if you show someone a movie site that says now playing, and it's got the now playing movie, like the Accountant 2's in this week or the Thunderbolts, and you're showing a page with those on there, they're like, oh yeah, I saw that movie last week.
As it's been renamed, The New Avengers. I haven't seen it yet, so spoiler. Dude, they spoiled it. They've literally changed the name of it. I haven't seen it yet, and I'm like, well, I know what happens now.
They're the New Avengers.
Surprise! It's literally the name of the movie. Yeah,
but I think that thing it feels like magic. It looks like magic. It shows well when we do it because it's proof of work that it works. That's why we also do mortgage calc in here, because you can literally put in your car loan and it'll put out the right number. There may be some taxes or something like that that's not in there, but they'll go,
you could account for that too.
Yeah, you could if you want to make it
make it specific.
Legit. Yeah, but you can definitely do that. But they'll look at it like, wow, okay, that works. My car loan is $423. Proof of work. And that's why we want apps that solve business problems or use recognizable data sets so that you can look at that. And then it is like magic. It is. So it's kind of cool.
Yep. Let's see. What's Clara say? Says, just finished the blog project. Should I keep going to the bug tracker in the original course? When I start the Blazor course, from where do you recommend we start?
If this Blazor course, start from the beginning.
Even if you've done the MVC course, right?
Yeah.
Because it is different enough.
Yeah, it's totally different,
Yeah.
And then
it's up to you whether you want to build the bug tracker in MVC or not. We think it still has validity. It's still something that, because it is going to be different.
Yeah.
But you're eventually going to build that in Blazor as well. So
yeah, we're going to release a new course here soon of the bug tracker in Blazor. So that'll probably be the flagship course over the one in NBC eventually.
But they are two different sets of skills using two different sets of technologies. While they do have overlap, there's also enough differences to have to understand both.
Yeah, you got to start with Blazor from the beginning for sure. It's a totally different coding paradigm than NBC. So I think you should definitely start over.
An age question. Nigel wants to know 57. Why should a 57-year start a career in software development in 2025?
Can I ride a bike in 50 miles starting from ground zero last year? Yeah. So like you can do it. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like you have to be able to show that you can do it, and you have to have the energy and everything to be able to learn this. Yep. And that's a personal question that I can't answer for you. Will someone hire you because you're 57 or 58 and not hire you because of your age? I doubt it. If you can demonstrate that you're a lifelong learner and that you haven't given up on learning, then they can hire you. I mean, you know, or you can hire yourself, different line. There's a lot of things you can do, but I definitely think at any age you should keep learning new things.
It's more about the mentality, isn't it, than the age? We've said that all along. It's like, it depends whether you want to continue to learn or not. If you're good at continuing to learn, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you can be a 20-year-old and not want to learn, it's going to be bad for you.
Right. And then what my classic example to this is being highly productive at an advanced age is Warren Buffett, who's just now retiring this year. Like, I don't know how old he is. How is he? 87?
I have no idea. Old. I don't know. I don't know. Let me look him up. Hold on.
Man knows a lot about stocks, you know, and he continues to know a lot about companies. You know,
he's older than you even think he is. He's 94.
94. You know, and then he gives the address and stuff like that. So he's finally handing the reins off to other people, which means, according to a lot of people, he was still largely in control last year. So like, that's crazy. You know, like, so what I want to do for me is constantly be in a learning mode of always learning new things, keeping my brain engaged, trying to figure out, setting goals to accomplish things. And so you can start a career in software developer in 2025. Depends on what you know. I think we've watched a video on where the bar is. I think we have it here, and then go see if you can hit those milestones, which is build full stack apps pretty much. You know, you can't just learn CSS at 57 and expect to get a job. I think that's true if you're 23. I mean, like, so.
Right. And even then it's not easy, is it? It's still the bar's still higher.
Yeah. What I would say this, Nigel, at 57, you have a lot of things to offer that a 23-year-old doesn't. I would say one of those could be, and we laughed at this because they made fun of me in my Discord channel. I play with gamers. I have a Discord, I'm a gamer, and I play a Discord channel. A lot of those guys are under the age of 30. A lot of them. Actually, all of them, except for me. So, in fact, I'm so old, they use me, they call me Mr. Davis, which is funny. But like, one of the guys commented on it, and I hope he's not watching me. He says, "Man, I hate you guys that have old man work ethic. You know, like you show up early on time. You know, like why can't you're trying to clock in and to a job you hate? You know, 15 minutes early. Why do you do that?" And I was explaining to him like old man work ethic. And at 57, we have things like work ethic, showing up time, professionalism, all of those soft skills that make you a more trustworthy candidate, whereas a 23-year-old may not have those yet. Now, there's some 23-year-olds that have it all in spades and they're everything and more. It just, you know, so it's not all about age all the time. It's about what do you bring to the table, and can you learn and can you participate? So I think you can do it for sure.
Definitely. Next question is about our course. In Foundry, do you give mentors or is it self-paced videos only?
Oh, we have a full-time course. You can come in here and take a full-time course. You can take the self-paced course. And you can also take the self-paced course and book time with an instructor, instructor.
We have an option in the course right here, 1 hour consulting session. It is an extra cost. It doesn't come as part of the course itself.
I will tell you though, I know it's $99 an hour, but it is a instructor. It's not someone who's in the middle of a course, a TA that doesn't work for Coder Foundry. Everyone here is full-time employees of Coder Foundry. They either and everyone you would talk to built parts of the course, where they teach the course full time. They know exactly what you're doing. And we do a lot of things inside that 1 hour. It's up to you what you want to talk to them about. So like, typically you can talk about your projects, or maybe you can mock interview you, those kind of things. And so I think it's really good. So we try to do it all. And then we have Discord as well.
Yep.
All right, cool.
That's it.
That's it.
And Nigel Orchard just said New Avengers. Can you believe they spoiled that? I mean, how long has it been out? A week?
A week. I guess it gets out, but you have to watch
but I haven't
credits for why they spoiled it.
Yeah, but I was just gonna like wait till it comes on Disney Plus and watch it. But now, I mean, you know, I don't know.
So it's
still
pretty good
watch it.
though. I will say this: it's pretty good. I mean, it's one of the and I'm a huge Marvel fan. Full disclosure, it's their best Marvel movie since Endgame.
Awesome.
Maybe Spider-Man: No Way Home is
okay,
but I would say MCU movie.
I was gonna say that's a Sony movie, right? So it's still
a Sony movie. You got to know the differences, but like the MCU movie, definitely the best movie since Endgame for sure. Everything between Endgame and that has been kind of like, you know, a lot of the TV properties kind of bad.
Loki is the best thing for me. That's been it.
It's been really good. That was really good. Everything's Some of them I didn't watch. You know,
I haven't even watched some of them.
I didn't watch Echo at all. I didn't watch 1 minute of Echo. Like I don't even know what it's about at this point. So.
No,
New Daredevil's pretty good.
I haven't even watched that either. So I don't know, just not as interesting to me. But I have been watching the new Star Wars stuff. I'm not caught up.
Andor is really good.
Andor's great. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Let's hit the road.
Resilience, man. I'm telling you, guys, just stay in there and keep coding. I say it all the time. Good luck and keep coding, but just keep grinding through it. And just a reminder is, we have a sale on our course. We didn't show that, did we?
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We still have a sale going on. Yeah. If you haven't, if you're not a current subscriber and want to subscribe, you can. You can go to learn.codefoundry.com, use coupon code Blazor, and you will get $395 off annual pricing. Brings it down to $199, which is about, I don't know, $16 a month, something like that, instead of the usual $50 a month.
Yeah, and I can tell you, you can go in Discord and ask how many times we put this on sale. Rarely. It's rarely this cheap. Rarely. So like we're making this really cheap. We want you to kind of jump in and learn Blazor. This will give you a full year to go through that content. And there's a lot of content in there. Like it's just a ton of content. And if you get lost, you can always hit us up on there. Yeah,
this gives you access to all this too, and the upcoming bug tracker course that we're going to add too. But everything .NET 6,
in there is all together.
JavaScript, SQL, the old complete .NET coding bootcamp. What else do you get in here? The Bootstrap course, the LinkedIn course, the interview course, Blazor Chef, which was this is still great. This is still a great course.
Yeah.
This Blazor with OpenAI, the AI Chef one's great. And then the brand new Complete Blazor, this is
massive.
52 hours worth of content right now.
Yeah. I would say it's going to take you 3 to 6 months to get through all this if you don't speed run it. I'm sure you could watch every video in 52 hours if you wanted to, but you're not going to learn anything. But if you're learning and trying to code it up and do that kind of stuff, they take 3 months, 6 months.
Which, by the way, what did I see earlier? Yeah, Mikey says about the course, by the way, just we're talking about it. Mike says, I'm liking the course, about to finish the FizzBuzz challenge. I should be finishing it this evening. It's awesome.
Nice, man. Cool. I'm hoping you're liking two-way binding. I'm hoping you're loving that kind of stuff and how Blazor is really, really cool. I'm sure you're liking it. So.
And also, if you do have any feedback for us, Mikey, being that far in, let us know. Drop us a message. We're always open to know what you love, what you hate, for sure. What was about?
Can't hate anything, Mikey.
You totally can. Let us know if you do. Please let us know. We're open to constructive feedback for sure here.
Yeah, I just want you to say my voice is smooth and my brother is smooth, and it makes you feel good at night.
The course is great, but that Bobby guy, man.
So the smooth sounds of coding with Bobby. That's what I need.
Maybe that's the next course we'll do. Maybe we'll do one of those, like, we'll do a radio DJ thing where you just like, and the course is, now we're moving on to... I think that'd be great. Yeah. This week, two-way binding. I think that'd be great.
Oh, thank Rich. We hadn't seen Ridge Raider in a while. Thanks, man.
Oh, Ridge Raider, thank you so much. We very much appreciate it. Would you say hello? My team at Meta is watching during lunch. Oh, that's awesome.
What? What did you say?
His team at Meta is watching during lunch.
Okay, cool.
That's awesome. I love that.
Nice.
We're on a screen, or are we in VR? We're on the headsets, because that'd be cool too. I've watched this back before on a headset. It's actually pretty cool on the Meta headset. It's fun to watch. YouTube video is actually fun to watch on that thing. If you've got one, check it out. The YouTube app's actually interesting on the Meta headset.
Okay, cool.
Watching video. Cool.
All right, we'll see you guys Friday. I'll do some live coding. We've been working on that. We'll get back to that. I'm back from my vacation. We'll code up on Friday and then keep working on Obscura. If you haven't seen that, go catch up, and then I'll see you Friday and we'll code some stuff up.
yeah, we'll catch everybody later. And thanks again, Ridge Raider. Appreciate the
Yeah, thanks, man.
Take care.
Keep cutting.